The Fall of the Firewall. Why Traditional Cybersecurity is Dead. Unabridged edition. This is Paul's Cyber. File 046 loading now. In the old world of cybersecurity, the rules were simple. Build a wall, patch your systems, block the ports, lock the doors, and you were safe. That was when threats came from outside. That was when attackers had to break in. But today, they don't break in. They log in. They don't hack your firewall. They bypass it entirely by going through you. Welcome to a world where the firewall is dead. Let me show you what killed it. Exhibit A, the single-click breach. 2023, a mid-sized law firm in Chicago. All systems up to date. Multi-million-dollar endpoint security contracts. Sophisticated threat detection. And yet, it only took one click. A legal assistant received a DocuSign email. Looked routine. Branded perfectly. They clicked. Logged in. The login redirected silently. Credentials stolen. MFA intercepted via session cookie theft. By the time IT noticed, a threat actor had full access to 37 confidential cases, including sensitive medical depositions and intellectual property documents. The firewall, still standing. The breach, already deep inside. Because the entry point wasn't a port. It was a person. Exhibit B, the inside job as a service. 2024, a disgruntled developer at a fintech startup gets an offer on breach forums. $50,000 in crypto to install a custom Python script during their next scheduled code push. They do it. The company's internal systems are compromised for 71 days. No malware triggered. No alerts fired. Because the attacker didn't deploy an exploit. They deployed a human being. We're now in an age of insider threats for hire. Exfiltration as a service. Internal credential access kits. HR simulator phishing tools. Your firewall never saw it coming because the threat came from the inside with a valid badge, a signed NDA, and a GitHub commit history. Exhibit C, the MFA bypass industrial complex. You've probably been told that multi-factor authentication will save you. It won't, because attackers don't break MFA. They fish around it. In 2023, the Octopus campaign used lookalike login pages to trick over 130 companies into giving up their credentials and their second factors via real-time push prompt hijacks. The attackers use reverse proxy phishing kits like Evil Proxy, Modlishka, and Greatness, available on Telegram with full documentation. They didn't need to brute force anything. They needed you to follow instructions. And guess what? You did. Exhibit D. VPNs are the new weak link. You think a VPN makes you invisible? It doesn't. In 2022, attackers targeted a government contractor with a simple trick. They compromised a junior sysadmin's email, found old VPN credentials in a password manager export, and reconnected. The firewall couldn't tell because the VPN tunnel was legitimate. The connection was encrypted, and the device passed all checks. But inside the tunnel, malware, exfil scripts, keyloggers. It was like driving a stolen ambulance through a military checkpoint. No alarms, just access. Exhibit E, AI as a breach multiplier. By 2025, attackers no longer needed to write good phishing emails. They used tools like WormGPT, FraudGPT, and Evil Writer. AI models train on dark web data and red team manuals. They wrote fake invoices that match your vendor's tone. They crafted emails that mimic your CEO's writing style, right down to the sentence cadence and punctuation quirks. The result? Phishing emails that scored 0% detection on every secure email gateway tested. Because the email didn't look suspicious. It looked like you wrote it. This isn't cybercrime. It's synthetic familiarity weaponized. And that familiarity flows through the cracks of every old-school defense system. So what actually died? Let's be precise. Antivirus? Dead. Most payload are fileless or live off the land attacks that run entirely in memory. Firewalls? Obsolete. Modern attacks use legitimate services, Google Drive, Slack, Dropbox, to ferry data out. CMs and logs? Corruptible. Advanced actors disable logging, poison telemetry, or use time-delayed payloads that only execute days after entry. Patch management? Still important. But attackers now use zero-day brokers to buy access before patches are even released. VPNs and MFA? Better than nothing, but increasingly circumventable. So what's left? You. Identity, intent, behavior, response time. The new perimeter is not your network. It's your people. Cybersecurity is no longer about blocking things. It's about detecting patterns, flagging anomalies, understanding human behavior under digital disguise. It's about assuming you're already breached and building resilience, not just defense. Let me show you what that looks like. Case, the company that didn't go down. In 2024, an e-commerce brand, let's call them Packetcraft, was targeted by a sophisticated access broker. The attacker got credentials, got into Slack, watched conversations, learned roles. They crafted a perfect invoice and sent it via an impersonated vendor domain. But before payment was processed, a junior finance intern flagged it. Why? Because a fake invoice referenced a supplier that hadn't worked with the company in 6 months, a subtle context mismatch. The intern didn't follow a script. They just asked a question. That flag triggered an internal kill switch. The payment system was frozen. Incident response kicked in. Damage, 0. No firewall could have stopped that, but a thinking human did. What now? The future of cyber defense isn't built on metal boxes or fancy dashboards. It's built on zero-trust architecture. Never trust, always verify, even inside your network. Behavioral analytics, tracking not what's accessed, but how. Decentralized identity, using blockchain to cryptographically prove who you are. Kill switch systems, where employees can shut down access with one button. Security culture, where every team member becomes a sensor and a shield. Because the new battlefield isn't in your server room. It's in your brain, in your habits, in your reactions. Hackers aren't exploiting ports anymore. They're exploiting patterns. And most of those patterns are human. This is Paul Cyber. File 046 complete. Traditional cybersecurity is dead, but awareness is immortal. And it just might be your last line of defense. Your mission, your call.